Yo, what is up? It's your boy Wasabi, and welcome to the second installment of the Footsies Guidebook for Melee players. For those unaware, the Footsies Guidebook was created to help players improve their footsies, or as we call it, the neutral game. Consisting of 10 chapters each with 3 or 4 specific topics, the Footsies Guidebook approaches teaching neutral through a collection of in-game situations and examples. While it was created for traditional 2D fighting games, this resource is still super applicable to Melee, and it has helped me a lot. This video series aims to translate the Footsies Guidebook into Melee terms, and I've added Melee specific gameplay footage to help you understand it. If you missed the first episode, I highly recommend you go check it out as we go over some core fundamentals from Chapter 1. Now let's get going to Chapter 2. Chapter 2 is all about baits, whiff punishes, and threat ranges. How do we use them and how do we shut them down? It is crucial to understand these concepts to be able to make smart and conscious decisions in neutral and mix up your opponent. Now let's get started with element number 4. Element number 4 states, when your opponent is looking to whiff punish your standard pokes, try whiffing a crouching light kick a few pixels away outside their sweep range. If they mistake it for a slower attack, they'll leave themselves open when their counterattack misses. Be ready to punish the whiff, or simply walk up and throw them during their recovery period. This tactic works best during mirror matches and against opponents who can hit your medium pokes on reaction. To translate this in Melee terms, let's first convert some of the terms they use. First off, mirror matches are dittos. Next, standard pokes are usually fast moves that prevent an opponent from coming in and can act as a combo starter. Think tilts, aerials like Captain Falcon's short hop nair, or maybe even a grab or dash attack, though that is a bit more committal. Next is a crouching light kick. Just think of moves that recover super fast. Think Sheik's F-tilt, auto-cancel aerials, or moves with IASA frames, like Marth's down tilt. Lastly is the sweep range. This is simply a character's maximum immediate threat range. As an example, for Fox and Falcon, it's their full distance short hop nair. For Sheik and Peach, it's their dash attack. With this terminology in mind, let's break down element 4. This element is all about tricking the opponent. Like any other fighting game, you're being watched by your opponent. Your actions influence their decisions and vice versa. Currently, you're facing an opponent who is actively waiting to whiff punish the ending animation or landing lag of your move for big damage or a stock. You want to make them think they are at a range to whiff punish you, while deep down in your hearts you know their move is never going to hit unless they specifically call it out. Now let's look at some examples of this. Alright, before we go into Melee examples, let's look at some examples that the Footsies Handbook provides. I chose this one just because the quality is better, so it's a little bit easier to see, but we'll see Boxer with a crouching light kick, which is a punch for him, and then Ryu do a sweep. What happens next is that we'll see actually that during the end animation of the sweep, Boxer's able to actually throw Ryu, therefore punishing Ryu's initial whiff. Alright, so let's get into it. Do you see it? Alright, if not, let's go back again, and this time let's go a little bit slower. Alright, that's the initial whiff. We see him do a crouching medium kick. A very, very long range move, right? Covers a lot of distance, and immediately after, this Boxer will just walk up and throw him. Boom. Alright, so now let's look at some Melee examples. Alright, so first we're going to look at Peach Falcon. Shoutouts to Ryobi, this clip is actually on his Twitter, so follow him at RyobiPeach. But we're going to see him actually bait out Falcon's stomp with a slapdash, one of Peach's fastest moves off of a double jump cancel. Boom. And look at this, he actually gets the kill from it, which is really crazy. No wonder he's a top player, but that is super, super interesting, right? He actually went in, left that space open for Falcon to go in, and then whiff punished it there, and gets the full punish out of it. So super, super sick clip. Thank you again, Ryobi. And yeah, let's get into the next clip. Let's not forget that element number 4 also states that this is really good in the mirror match. Again, that is a ditto. So we're looking at the Fox ditto here. This is Armada Leffen from CEO 2015 in the Fox ditto. And we're actually going to see Leffen do this slightly retreating fade back nair and baiting Armada in. See, right there, we're going to look at it again, and we're actually going to see him do this nair right there. Then Armada comes in thinking that Leffen is still in lag, and Leffen immediately gets the punish. This is a big neutral win. This adds up. Leffen does this all set. And I'm going to show you one last example. Once again, we can have the same stage, and we're going to see Leffen abuse this strategy in the Fox Ditto. We're going to see Leffen do that fade back nair. Armada's going to come in with grab once again. Very, very common whiff punish tool in Melee, so you're just going to have to be aware of that. It could be an aerial, it could be a dash attack. But we see Leffen actually just win neutral again here and start building damage. It's honestly no wonder that he won CO 2015. Element number 5 states, if your opponent starts overusing the feints explained above, take a quick step forward and attack with your strongest combo in sync with their rhythm. Light attacks may be fast, but they're certainly not immune to mind games. If element number 4 was how to trick and bait your opponent, then element number 5 is how to counter it. Everything has a counter, and even if some moves are hard to true punish, element number 5 will still help you gain significant frame advantage or positional advantage in Melee. Just remember that Melee movement is a lot faster than other fighting games. You have access to full hops, double jumps, and dash dancing. Oh, and of course, wave landing and wave dashing. So you might need to aim where you think your opponent will be, not where they're currently at. Now we're going to go over some examples. Okay, so for our Street Fighter example, we're actually going to see this Chun-Li walk forward before putting out a move. This is actually just to trick the spacing between them so that Chun-Li will actually hit while the Ken is actually just looking to put out that really, really quick feint. Alright, did you see it? Alright, let's go back. So here, Chun-Li takes this quick step forward before actually putting out a move and gets super big damage.
Chun gets out with a low forward super. Things look bad.
And as the commentator says, things certainly do look bad. Now let's look at some Melee examples. Alright, so for the Melee example, I just want to establish how common element number 4 is and why element 5 exists. It's because players do it so often. We're watching Nun and SJ from Match Summit 10, and we're actually gonna see them both do it and do nothing about it. So you see Johnny do it there, and you see Nun do it there, and you see Johnny do it again, and Nun do it again. And look, they're not really using element number 5. That being said, the next clip is from the same tournament set, and we're actually gonna see Nun counter Johnny's element number 4 with that fade back nair with element number 5. Okay, so now that we have the clip up, we're gonna see Johnny do this nair, right? Like we saw in the last clip. And then Nun's actually gonna take the step forward in the rhythm of Johnny while he's fading back and catching him in shield. Now, even if it doesn't net him a true combo, this is still crucial because Johnny's in shield now. Falcon's not very good in shield. He's forced to do something. What does he do? He stomps out of shield. It misses, and Nun gets his insanely sick stock. Alright, so lots of Summit 10 examples here, but remember that Melee isn't one for one with Street Fighter, and so we have to count several other tools that Melee has thanks to its larger moveset and mobility to counteract this. One thing is actually full hop. Full hop for some characters helps evade this, and we're going to see the full hop master IBDW counter Nun when he tries to do that nair. There, he does the nair, and he just full hop over it. So even, again, it doesn't necessarily have to be a true punish, but what we see here is that Nun sees IBDW running in, so he puts out these jabs, and IBDW full hops over it and gets the nair. He's still attacking in the same rhythm as that fade back nair, and that's how he's able to hit Nun. Okay, so for our last clip, we're going to show actually 2 examples of this. This is from Super Smash Con 2016, Mango versus Wizzy. And, you know, instead of a fade back nair sometimes, it can be like a fade back stomp for Falcon. So first, we're actually going to see Mango not contest it. He's not ready for that nair, so he doesn't need to go for it. Remember that just because element number 5 exists, doesn't mean that you always have to do it. But Wizzy then immediately does this stomp, and wave dash down is a great tool to establish pressure on him. Now, it had happened kind of fast, so we're going to see he wave dashes down, and then baits Wizzy to do this. And then he immediately gets the grab off of it after putting Wizzy into shield, and this is how top players play, so you have to keep this in mind, and this is why element number 5 is so crucial. Element number 6 states always be on the lookout for changes in your opponent's behavior, especially when they gain access to super meter. When people start edging back and forth at mid-range, that's a sign they're fishing for something to nail with a super. Stick to quick moves in that situation. Don't test their reactions with slow special moves, or better yet, lock them into block stun, then bait the super from a deceptively safe distance. Alright, so honestly this element is a little bit odd since Melee doesn't have any super meter or supers, but with a little flexibility, this is still very much applicable. The core of this element is an opponent having a situation where they can start a big damage combo, lead to an edgeguard or gimp situation, or depending on their percent, outright take your stock. So rather than an opponent building up their super meter, for Melee the factors that we need to consider are percentages and stage position. Melee is unique because there is no set amount of damage before a character loses a stock, so gimps versus star KOs are essentially the same. So for element 6, it's really about watching your opponent. See if they are just dash dancing or full hopping a few character lengths away from you. If so, it's likely they are fishing for something, and whatever you do, unless you have the absolute hardest of soul reads, please, please, please do not put out any moves with a lot of lag or cooldown. How many times have we seen a Fox get too antsy on a game 5 last stock situation versus HBox and lose because they just throw out an up smash? Outside of the most obvious example, let's look at some of these other gameplays. Okay, so the Street Fighter example just showed a super, so I decided not to show it for this, as it's not really applicable, but we're gonna see here Kaon actually just waiting mid-range, about half a stage away, not doing anything. You know he's fishing for something, and he's actually just gonna run up and up smash. He's clearly looking to fish for something. This is a hilarious interaction showing kind of the absurdity of element number 6, but it is just important to keep in mind. Alright, so we just saw Kaon and IBDW, and Kaon was fishing for it because IBDW was at kill percent. Another common example of this is during a last stock situation, especially when it's game 5, like here with Mewtwo King versus SFAT at EXP 2015. How many times have we seen Mewtwo King do this? Yeah, so he's just camping ledge, he's just waiting, he's waiting, he's waiting, he's looking for something. And we've all been here before, and Mewtwo King edges it out in grand finals. So again, it's just really crucial to be aware of this, and when the player telegraphs it as hard as Mewtwo King does, right? Mewtwo King isn't really trying to contest, we know what he's looking for, and it's is he able to find it? He gets this classic trademark dash attack into a quick gimp. Alright, by now you should start to see what veteran players mean when they say everything has a counter. Footsies is more than just technical knowledge. It all hinges on constant analysis of your opponent to determine which tactic to apply at any given moment. You need to look out for patterns. And this brings us up to the final point. Rule number 1, never get predictable. If you can't read your opponent's intention for whatever reason, or if you simply lose track of your opponent's train of thought, do not under any circumstances fall back to your default game plan. Play it safe or do something random, something your opponent has never seen you do. Otherwise, you'll find yourself walking, or if it's a major and, not COVID, flying home with a bewildered look on your face, trying to remember what exactly it was you got hit by. So honestly, this needs really very little translation, but just coming from personal experience, the amount of times that I've just defaulted to shooting lasers or defaulted into something, I've lost those sets, and this rule is so crucial for that. So I just kind of want to stress to avoid autopiloting. That's really when the habits come out the most, and sometimes you autopilot when you're in a lead, and sometimes you autopilot when you are down a few stocks, so be aware of that. Outside of that, now let's look at some heartbreakers of players that got a bit too predictable and didn't listen to rule number 1. Okay, so for our first example here, we're gonna look at SFAT, and he's just lasering and backing up. We know that Fox wants to build damage with a 3 stock lead on Puff on game 5, but it's just a little bit too obvious, and we're gonna see him keep on giving up stage, and HBox is moving forward. He gets hit by this bear, and it actually loses him his first stock. So that's one way SFAT got predictable in this situation. The next situation is again SFAT trying to play keep away, but we are gonna see him side B 3 times and get called out for it, and this is how he actually just loses his second stock. That happened all really quick, so let's just look at it a little bit again. Alright, so here, this is the first side B, right? So that's fine. He'll do it again at the same height. H-Box is ready. This time H-Box knows it, and he's actually just going to F-smash him and take the second stock. Alright, so this is our last example for the first Heartbreaker, and it's actually just going to be SFAT once again, just trying to tack on damage. H-Box, last stock, the start of Clutch Box, right? This is 2015, and we're going to see SFAT build damage, but one of the obvious things is that run-up up smash, and this is actually what loses him the stock and gives H-Box the win. But once again, it's just very predictable that a Fox is looking for that at this range, and H-Box has all the time to shield and punish after. Now, he did it with a double bear, but just keep in mind with an up smash, it also could be a rest out of shield, and that hurts just a little bit more. Okay, so for our last Heartbreaker example, we're gonna look at probably one of my favorite stocks from 2016, and this one's a little bit more subtle. It's S2J versus Lucky, and we're gonna see Lucky do this full hop. S2J punishes it here, but he's not always successful on it, but he has kind of the read on it, right? Lucky's defaulting to this, and we can see in the next interaction, we know that Lucky's looking to approach from a full hop. There's one, there's another one that goes through. Oh wow, there's a third one that goes through, right? And this adds up, right? This is game 5, Johnny's on his last stock, and he makes this miraculous comeback, so let's fast forward a little bit to see how this all plays out. Okay, so now we are at last stock, and we're actually going to see S2J just call it out and get probably one of the sickest combos of 2016. And it all plays out from here, and I'm just going to turn on the commentary for this one just because I think it's super sick.
Oh man.
Oh, this could be it.
Oh wow.
Oh my. Oh my god! Ah! Oh my god!
And there we go, an infamous Johnny stock off of Lucky getting a little bit too predictable with his full hop approaches. Alright, that's the end of Chapter 2 of the Footsies Handbook Melee Edition. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If it improved your gameplay or you just enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. This is a new channel. I want to make more of these videos, so any feedback is much appreciated. I'm going to do Chapter 3 soon, which is all about corner game and corner pressure. You can find that on my YouTube channel, Wasabi with 2 S's. And you can find me on Twitch and Twitter as well under the same handle. If you want to hear me talk more about Melee mentality and my experience with the game so far, check out the Wannabes podcast with me and my co-host JD. We're on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and Podbean. Anyway guys, peace out.